Robots, automatons, droids. Long have we held a fascination with the golem. Dating back to antiquity and taking on its modern mechanical implications with the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, fiction is awash in fascinating portrayals of humanity's iron children. The AI overseers of HAL, Skynet, and AM, the sympathetic android Data and the Blade Runner replicants, the adorably boxy Wall-E and the robot, and the classic, Robot Girl wants to go to high school and make friends! Okay, I realize the setup sounds like a dig at cliche anime plots, but Karakuri Odette actually grapples with some of the most interesting questions of AI personhood I've ever seen. And it's easy to overlook that because it is indeed a very pink shoujo comedy about a girl robot going to high school. I myself did not picture my review taking this path, but upon rereading the manga, I realized just how many questions about AI integration this silly little story raises. So the premise of Karakuri Odette is about as simple as advertised on the cover. There's this professor-type fellow, and he made an android, and now she wants to go to school. And of course, there are some growing pains associated with infiltrating a human environment. She needs a stomach to contain food, and she needs less overpowering robot strength, but she does manage to fit in and make some human friends, and thus can begin the shenanigans. After we have a brief interlude with a suicide bot being sent to explode the professor. Just gonna get this plotline out of the way right now because it's the only thing even resembling a through line for this manga. Chris, number 7 of 10, was sent to blow up the professor, but the professor was away at a Christmas party. So while waiting, Odette ropes him into playing with her because as an only child, she gets bored. Jumping ahead, of course Chris doesn't explode the doctor, and the agency that sent him pops up every so often as a nominal villain. I'd much rather talk about the fact that Chris, an android, didn't notice that Odette was an android until she punched her way out of the wine cellar. Odette has a lot of outward signifiers of her robotic nature, blank expression, ignorance of social niceties, pink hair, but beneath the skin-like polymer, she has lots of emotions and desires that make her behave in unexpected ways. She loves kitties, latches onto cute girl culture as her identity, will jump in front of physical assault, and has a wide array of likes and dislikes that she never needs to justify to herself logically. She has what I term the Data syndrome, where it's obvious she has emotions when you look at her pattern of behavior long term, but moment to moment, her stiffness could distract you. In an early chapter, another android named Asia is sent to the professor for a 1-week school attending experiment. And Asia is just brimming with emotion. She bubbles with happiness at any possible moment and inspires real feelings of jealousy in Odette about how human-like she seems. But Odette's friend Asao correctly guesses that Asia is a robot because she feels constructed. Odette ponders what he means by that until she and Asia spot a friendly neighborhood cat dead on the side of the road. Odette rushes over in a caring panic, but Asia strolls over, still smiling like she just got a ticket to Whore Island. Asia then proceeds to rub her face on that cat's corpse while proclaiming she loves cats. Odette gazes in horror at the face of what she might be, if not for the grace of her father's skills. In a moment of sheer existential dread, she pounds Asia to the pavement. What must it be like to face down your own potential non-existence? To gaze at the uncanny valley from the other side? Odette knows she isn't human, but she wants to be with humans. And in Asia, she faced down the very real chance that she isn't capable of passing as human. Is she just simply reacting as she was programmed? Does she completely lack free will? These are questions flesh and blood humans grapple with, while Odette knows she was constructed and lives with the man who programmed her entire existence into being. And it's not like she has grand ambitions for her passing as human, she just wants friends because being by yourself is lonely and boring. Now, Odette mostly succeeds at hiding her robotness from her friends. Her close friend Yuko has no idea, even after Odette rips her own head off to activate her distress beacon while Yuko was having a medical emergency. Hey, Yuko, I gotta ask, how did you miss that? Like, I get that you promised not to look, but seriously, did your eyes literally fall out of your face or something? There's no earthly way you could have missed Odette's head being on the ground while you were getting pulled out of that well. Yuko should take some lessons from Asao. He's an upperclassman who clued into Odette's mechanical origins after she tanked a pipe to the head for him. Asao also has a crush on Yuko, but she thinks he's a big scary delinquent and also thinks Odette has a crush on him, which she doesn't but lacks the social awareness to fully deny as such to her friends, and Asao wants her to put in a good word for him to Yuko, but she already has a boyfriend and oh my god, this flowchart is getting a little busy. Yeah, just throw that away. An interesting thing happens when Odette and Chris hide out at Asao's house while the doctor throws away a lifeless doll that has Chris's tracking device stuffed in it. And that's Asao's chubby sister! Legitimately interesting character design aside, what I'm referring to is the board game Odette brought. It's a remarkably similar game to Pretty Pretty Princess.
No earrings, the necklace, the ring, then I got the crown!
The goal is to travel around the board and pick out your royal finery and potential prince date. Chris defers all his choices to Odette since he doesn't care either way. Asao gets pretty pissed with this and flips the table like a boar digging for truffles. But Chris is literally weeks old and was constructed as a suicide bot. He has nothing to latch onto in his life that would qualify as a like. Okay, that's not true. He does have one thing he likes. As the robots are leaving, Asao's sister offers them candy from her private stash. And Chris picks the pink one because it reminds him of Odette's hair. Quick aside here, Chris chooses the pink candy, which confirms that Odette's hair is actually pink. That's not just a cover image colorization thing. If you've ever wondered about the weird hair colors in anime that no one comments on, it's basically a non-diegetic flare. All black hair would be boring, so lots of anime just change the hair color for the visual variety, and as far as the characters are concerned, everyone has normal hair. But here, it's directly referenced that her hair is pink. So she's pretending to be a normal human girl in Japan while having pink hair? Anyway, I like the moment with the candy because it reinforces the idea that our arbitrary likes and dislikes are heavily rooted in things familiar to us. Sure, some of it is just ephemeral, weird feelings that we've always had, like me hating carrots, but most of it is just associations with things you have externally influenced happy memories with. Chris isn't as advanced as Odette, but she gave him a life and is basically the center of his universe. And yes, that sounds romantic, but it's much more big sister type stuff, and apparently I have to specify not the incestuous kind. Now, once the shenanigans die down, we get introduced to this other robot, Travis. He is another extremely advanced robot created by one of the scientists behind the Chris bombings. And he is a big old jerk, capricious, selfish, and completely lacking in social niceties because he was spoiled rotten by his father. And when he meets Odette, her ability to power through his rudeness intrigues him. Intrigues in the way that implies he gets turned on by women who walk all over him. Travis immediately demands that he be allowed to marry Odette, which chafes his sister. By sister, I mean earlier model of android who was ditched in favor of Travis. But she was told that she could marry Travis when he was completed, but now that her father is more interested in her brother, she's been demoted to guardbot. And holy shit, the incest, why can't I escape the incest? No, but seriously, this last arc brings up probably the most overlooked aspect of AI emergence. In this age of tech, the old is quickly discarded in favor of the new. Apple already has its customers trained to buy the new model every year or so, and game consoles are even worse somehow. But you have to move past that way of thinking when it comes to AI. Grace may have very stunted emotional capacity, but the desire for her creator's approval guides her very being. Once you create a fully self-conscious AI, you cease to be just a programmer. You're a parent. A parent who luckily got to skip the literal shittiest parts of raising a child. Feel free to keep creating new AI, but those beings are your responsibility until they develop their own independence. If you don't, prepare to have your eyes gouged out by Rutger Hauer. Grace realizes that her father doesn't truly care for her when Travis needs repairs, and rather than fix Travis, he opts to just scrap him and move on to the next project. Grace cannot accept such a reality where her existence can be so easily cast aside. It takes Odette's father shaming Dr. Frankendick into realizing that Grace and Travis aren't just toasters with broken springs. They deserve emotional care as well as mechanical care. Alright, let's wrap this up with some nitty-gritty. Karakuri Odette doesn't have an overarching plot, going for more of a slice of life feel. It's also not a hard romance, with Odette not really having the emotional or physical capacity for romancing a human. So what you're mostly getting is a light, breezy comedy that every so often touches on some of the deepest philosophical questions of AI emergence. Art's also pretty solid. Face variety is low, but expressiveness is high, and the comedic art is top-notch. You're probably familiar with the mangaka Suzuki Juliet for her work Kami-sama Kiss. I actually first encountered her with her much earlier work Akuma to Dulce, with Odette coming out between the two. If you're a fan of Kami-sama Kiss, then I really recommend you check out the other two, because the quirky offbeat style of Kami-sama Kiss is actually more present in her earlier works, just with a lot less polish that I think gives it more character. Oh, and Karakuri refers to a type of animatronic puppet show from the 1800s Japan, and Odette is a reference to the Swan Princess, so Odette is literally a robot ballerina, which is like a crazy fucking common trope. Hi, this is Pluto Burns. I want to thank you for watching my latest video. I'm quite fond of Karakuri Odette, and on the reread I was really shocked at how many hard sci-fi concepts it brushes up against, although I don't think it really notices. But yeah, I was trying something new today, and I hope you all like it, and I love you all for watching. Catch you next time.